Shin splints. If you're a runner, you must be suffering right now just by hearing that word. Let's see what we can do about it. Hello, Dr. Vinod here. Today we are going to discuss a topic that is a nightmare for most runners, be it a beginner or even an advanced runner. Shin splints is a serious debilitating condition that can occur for almost any runner. The first thing that most people do, they immediately go and try to stretch, massage and all that. That's good. If the shin splints are not very bad, they can massage the area and they can get a certain amount of relief. But the problem is when there is an acute pain, massage and stretching is going to make it worse. So the main treatment for such acute, really painful shin splints that you can't even walk or that makes you hobble when you're running, the only treatment is to visit a doctor and get pain pills and take rest for 3 days. I know this goes against the advice of most runners, but this is the fastest way to getting back on track. So do that whenever you have an acute attack. Visit your doctor, get your pain pills, ice the area for every 4 hours, 10 minutes for every 4 hours. Ice that area and take rest for at least 3 days before you start trying to run or massage or do anything else. So what are the other factors that come into play when we're talking about shin splints? One is bad gait. Obviously, this happens to everybody, including me and many other serious runners out there. When you're doing many miles, when you get tired, or when your hydration isn't proper, there is a problem with the communication between your brain to your limbs, and because of that, your form may suffer. So with time, as you keep running, over a certain time period, your body form may suffer. And that is why we need to keep doing drills and correcting our body form every once in a while. So when you run in poor form or with poor gait, it will lead to conditions like shin splints and plantar fasciitis. So the second reason is bad foot strike. So I'm not talking about people who are always striking with their heels. So if you've already been running while striking your heel for the past 10 years, then forget about it. But if you're a new runner and you're striking the ground with your heel, then it means you may have to change the way you strike your foot against the ground. Make sure that not much of a noise is heard when you're striking your foot against the ground, and make sure that you preferably land midfoot rather than your heel. So this will make a tremendous difference with time. The third is your running shoes, the type of running shoes that you have. You don't necessarily have to go for high cushioning, but if you're having difficulties with your shoe, just turn your shoes over and see the shoe wear pattern. So if there is wear and tear in both shoes, but the pattern is irregular, that means there is a problem with your gait. Or if your shoes lack proper cushioning, if you have gone straight away to minimalist shoes, this sort of problem is more likely to happen. So if you're a beginner who's trying to transition to minimalist shoes, try to have some cushioning in your shoes first before going immediately to minimalist shoes. Don't transition fast. The fourth is ankle flexibility. So all of us know that we need proper ankle flexibility to land in such a way that the shocking force doesn't go up your shin and to your knee. So when your ankle flexibility is bad, if it's really hard, then when your foot strikes the ground, all the force is going to transmit up your shins and towards your knee. So to prevent that, you need a very flexible ankle. To have a flexible ankle, you can go back to the plantar fasciitis video, and I'll link it up here. So you can see how to do the prayer stretch or the heel sit. So this is one of the exercises that you can do to improve ankle flexibility, and not just ankle flexibility, you also have to think about hip flexibility. So you also have to improve flexibility of your quadriceps, and for this you need other exercises that I mentioned for plantar fasciitis and ITP, such as the inner groin stretch, and this can also be combined with the standing quadricep stretch. Other than this, you also have to strengthen your calf. That's the fifth point. Coming to strengthening exercises, most of the people who have shin splints have bad calf strength. So if you have shin splints on one side, it's possible that the calf muscle on that side is lacking in strength. So try to stand up on one leg and try calf raises on a staircase or any other elevation that you find, so that you can develop more strength in that calf muscle. The sixth problem is change in route. So this might strike you as a bit silly, but this is very common, and I'll tell you the reason why it happens. Sometimes when we're running along the highway or along any particular trail, there may be a depression in that trail that goes up to 3 or 4 kilometers. So what happens when you run along such a trail is your hip gets misaligned towards the side of the depression. So when you are keeping one foot down here and one foot up here, your hip also tilts in that direction. So when you go along such a trail, make sure that you come back along the same route instead of another route. So when you do that, even if your hip tilts one side, when you're coming back, it will tilt to the other side and it will balance out. But when you go along this route and come back on a different route, the hip doesn't adjust again. So when you keep on doing this over a distance of 200 to 400 kilometers, over a period of 3 months or 4 months, then the hip permanently becomes tilted to this side. It's pretty scary, right? So you can easily prevent this by coming back along the same route. So make sure that you plan your route accordingly so that your body is healthier. And the seventh one is, as I said, correction of hip alignment. One such correction can be made by changing your route.
These are some exercises for correcting anterior pelvic tilt.
But otherwise, if you have other problems such as ITB and plantar fasciitis, again, there may be a problem in your hip alignment. So I'll link up the videos here again. Please refer the link above and see how you can correct your hips in such a way that you can run easily and avoid problems due to hip alignment, problems such as ITB, plantar fasciitis and shin splints. All of these occur or can occur because of bad hip alignment. Look up the links above and try these exercises. So as a recap, first treatment for acute shin splints is ice and rest. And coming to the factors for shin splints, one is bad gait, one is change in foot strike, third is proper cushioned shoes, not very heavily cushioned but properly cushioned shoes, fourth is ankle flexibility, fifth is calf strengthening, sixth is change in route, and seventh is correction of hip alignment.
A small note about cross training. Once your active shin splints resolve with ice and rest, you can start yourself on upper body gym exercises as well as exercises such as cycling and swimming that will give some rest for your shins before you start going to run again.
Don't forget, as far as shoe wear is concerned, you have to keep checking your shoes and check how your shoes have worn out. If it is irregular, then it's an early warning sign for you to change the way you run and to correct your gait so that you can prevent problems from happening in advance. Take care. And if you like this content, please share and subscribe.